It's time for a reality check.
We're here to deconstruct health and fitness trends and provide tangible advice so you can become 1% better with each choice starting today.
Welcome back to Reality Check. We are your hosts, Jess and Jill, and we are long overdue for just a little bit of an unhinged episode. So there really isn't much structure into this one. It is a little bit of a rant, I guess, that Jess and I will go on. I would say we might regret it later, but we won't. So we want to talk about just things that drive us a little crazy that we hear as coaches, because there are so many things that we have to address over and over with people. And there are things that are good and productive that we're happy to be repetitive with. And there are some things that just kind of make us want to bang our heads on the wall. And we wanted to cover some of them. And I'll be honest, when you hear some of these, you might even feel a little bit triggered. And if you do, that's okay. And honestly, probably goal accomplished. We want to bring some awareness to bring some logic to these statements, I guess, is a good way to put it. So this is all in lighthearted fun. But again, if you feel a little triggered, it's probably because you have something to work on. And that's okay, because we all do. So, Jess, you want to kick us off? Because I feel like this one is so many different contexts. You hear it. Like I'm picturing like aunt at a family gathering situation.
That is really funny. I'm typing notes that were popping into my head to add to what we already had. And that was one of mine, actually, was like, not ants, but like when you're at, just in case any of my ants are listening, I have to say that. When you're at like a barbecue or a party or something and you hear other people talking about their diets, that actually is one that I just added to our list. So, okay. Things people say that drive us nuts as healthy nutrition coaches and personal trainers. I say healthy because I think a lot of these comments and these types of like positive encouragement stem from people in our industry who have dysfunctional relationships with food or their own bodies. So like a lot of times I hear trainers celebrating, oh my gosh, that's great, I made you so sore. And again, like I've probably done this in the past. I'm not dogging on the people who are doing this, but I think we're perpetuating these less than healthy ideals of grind harder, eat less. Great, you lost 20 pounds. And it's like, whoa. Like, are we encouraging quick fixes and fads, or are we actually encouraging health? So that is what we want to get into today in terms of the like topic and giving context to each of these things. So things that people say frequently, often to us, because they know that this is our field of job and interest, and we love talking about this stuff. So please don't stop sharing with us your wins and your journey. Like we want to encourage you, but these are the things that drive us nuts to hear. One, first and foremost, people bragging or like, again, I'm happy with them for pursuing a fitness journey or for getting healthier. I want to say that. But people only fixating on how much weight they've lost. So I have a lot of people who I do not train personally, but maybe they're acquaintances or friends or family members being like, oh my gosh, I lost 20 pounds. Aren't you so proud of me? And I'm like, well, how do you feel? Like I really try to shift the conversation to, oh my gosh, I hope you're feeling good. Are you working out? Are you feeling stronger? Are you eating better? Tell me about it, right? I want to encourage the healthy behaviors that perhaps got them there. But if we only focus on, you'll be so proud I lost 15 pounds, my internal language here is like, well, I don't know. I know a lot of people who lose 15 pounds and aren't doing healthy inputs, right?
Back next week.
So I don't necessarily want to encourage quick fixes or quick weight loss or just the weight loss itself, right? If somebody, and again, I've been vocal, I'm clearly vocal about this stuff. So I've witnessed some of my aunts evolve in their own language, in their language to my kids about their bodies and strength and stuff, where my one aunt is like, I'm feeling so strong. And I'm like, look at you guys. I could see you doing that. Thank you for doing that for me. But like, also you look good. You look fit, right? But I think that just to check yourself on it, right? Are you most excited about the weight loss? Great, right? That is cool. If you feel good, if you feel better in your skin, if you feel healthier, amazing.
And it's worth celebrating for sure.
1000% worth celebrating. And we want to celebrate it with you. Again, we want to celebrate it in a healthy way though. So that's is sometimes it is a little bit cringy for us if it's only about the scale. And again, maybe you've done it in a really healthy way. It is because we've been conditioned by many, many, many women who we've watched do it in unhealthy ways, and then their metabolism slows down, and then they're tired and they're weak and they're losing muscle, right? Like, so anyway, that's where that one stems from.
And then in reverse, just commenting on weight in general of other people. Like when people tell me, oh, you look thin, or, oh my gosh, have you lost weight? I'm like, how about you look healthy and beautiful? What are you doing?
Yeah.
What have you, like, I don't know why we have so much. I mean, I do know why, obviously, with like social media and diet culture and all of that, it's so ingrained in our brains to like only celebrate that. Like, we've had clients who add muscle and maybe the scale doesn't change for a couple of months when they work with us, but they're working out consistently and they eat more protein per day than they ever have. They're sleeping like a baby and off blood pressure meds, and
they look healthier.
Health markers are better, right? And why do we act like that's not worth celebrating? And I know those aren't visual, right? But it's why we shouldn't just comment on the visual. How about you ask people just like how they're doing in life?
How are you feeling? You look really good, or you look healthy, or whatever. I think also because it can go in the other direction. Like when my mom was going through, I feel like it was like, I don't know the word for it, but like the timing of it all, she started exercising and riding bikes for fun with her girlfriends. And then she got diagnosed with breast cancer. During this time going through surgery and stuff like that, she had lost weight from exercise, but not trying to lose weight. And I remember somebody at our church saying like, oh no, are you losing weight because you're sick? And she's like, oh, actually, I think I'm overcoming this cancer because I've started eating better and taking care of my body. And my point is people can lose weight for healthy or unhealthy reasons, right? Some people lose weight because they don't eat when they're stressed. So commenting on other people's weight, again, if you think somebody looks good, please comment, right? Hey, you're looking great. You're glowing, whatever. You look healthy. You look awesome. Go for it. Please. We don't want you to stop celebrating each other. But commenting just on weight also sends the message that is the most important value. So, right. And like, it can also encourage less than healthy things if that person didn't lose it in a healthy way. So like, I hear this again, I have sonar hearing because this is all I think about and do all day for work, right? But when I hear somebody at a get together say, oh my gosh, you look so good. What are you doing? And then my other aunt says, well, I haven't eaten carbs in 3 weeks. So I lost 10 pounds. It's like, okay, well, guess what? All of our daughters are hearing you say that. Tell the other person that their value is in how skinny they can get and they've stopped eating and that's what got them there. Yeah. Right. So like we're not intentionally, again, I very much want to celebrate people feeling better in their bodies physically too. But unintentionally now we're projecting that onto the next generation that's the most important thing. And that's all your value is in being smaller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, I know we've talked about this on here before, but tying into this, and this is kind of off topic, but I'll just make the comment because you brought up the daughters and things. Like, I think that one of the coolest things about our clients in the program is that they bring so much awareness to how frequent a lot of their thoughts are around their body and food and all of that. And they start to realize like, oh my gosh, I can't project this onto my kids. And it helps them change their own thoughts and narrative, I think, when they have kids. And not that kids should be your only motivation, but it's a great motivator to like, if I wouldn't say that,
makes you check yourself.
My kid, why should I say it to myself? So anyway,
we could really do a whole episode on things we speak to ourselves in front of our children too. Like when I was training in the gym, I can't count the amount of times I would hear women pick their bodies apart in the mirror. Oh, look at this under my arm, or, oh, look at the cellulite or whatever. And then in the same breath, be like, I don't know why my teenage daughter has such body image issues. And I'm like, let's reframe how you're talking. Like, can we start talking about the positives you see in your body or not looks at all? Like, let's talk about how you lifted heavier this week than last week, or how you're able to do this other thing independently now, right? So anyway, yes, the way that you speak about your own body also projects.
Another one too, that I feel like, I don't know if you notice this, Jess, but I have to have these conversations a lot with my clients about other people making comments about their food. And sometimes like people don't have bad intentions when they do it, but like, I remember, now this is an extreme example, but when I was like starting my fitness journey and in bodybuilding, people were like, oh, are you eating fish again? Oh, are you doing this? And of course, at that time, like I wasn't doing it for the healthiest reasons, but like, just like you shouldn't comment on somebody's weight, don't comment on somebody's food choices either, because I hate when people say to me like, we joke all the time about how I can eat 2 dinner plates. Well, like, oh, lucky you that you can do that. Excuse me, I work my fucking ass off to be able to eat 2 dinners when I feel like it, for one. And 2, don't comment on other people's food in general. It's just rude. And clients will say, like, I'm trying to be better, but like, I felt like my friends were sabotaging me. Nobody who is doing better than you will ever make a comment to bring you down. Ever. So I want everyone to remember that. If somebody makes a comment to you about that, it's because they are trying to bring you down to their level, and not always intentionally. Sometimes it's subconscious, sabotage you because it's not something that they're willing to do or work on. Nobody doing better than you, and better is relative in this scenario, will make a comment to you like that. I would never, ever, ever comment on somebody's food like that. And sometimes it's innocent and
that's what I was going to say. I don't want anybody to feel bad if you have commented on people's food, right?
No,
it might be innocent, or you might be thinking like, damn, that's awesome. She can eat that much. And then you just blurt it out, right? I don't want you to feel guilty. We're just thinking about how can we reframe, right? So just like with that first thing of, you'll be so proud I lost 15 pounds. My answer is usually, oh, do you feel healthy? Like, and then it leads us down a different direction. Mm-hmm. With this one, I actually had a similar thing written down, Jill. There's a specific conversation because this was somebody who I know from the gym. So I felt like I could challenge them a little bit. Usually I'll just like ignore it. It was like, well, you can afford to have it. Look at you. And I straight up said, would I ever judge you for what you eat? And she's somebody who actively was working on weight loss goals, right? She was like, well, no, and I'm like, okay, cool. I don't want the thing. So like, please don't push on. And again, I might choose nachos. I might choose ice cream tonight. I might choose French fries. But if I say no to these 3 cookies that I don't care about right now that you're offering me, like, let it live, right? Like, so it goes both ways. We're not judging people for what there are less healthy choices either. Maybe I'm choosing a less healthy thing, and that's okay. Because again, we hear this more because of the field we're in. People will say like, oh my gosh, you eat pie, you eat dessert. What? Like, yeah, that's actually what we teach is balance for our clients also. But I think people don't expect that when they see somebody who's a personal trainer.
Or when people say, oh, are you allowed to eat that? I'm the boss of me. I'm allowed to do whatever the fuck I want. How about that? So that's the other
thing. Jill is so fired up today.
I'm trying to hurt feelings because I do think that you can really, just like Jess said, where like you could comment on somebody's weight that they lost and it's in an unhealthy way. And they're like, oh my God, I now need to do these unhealthy things more, right? It's the same thing for people, which I don't think you should ever worry about someone else's opinion. But like, if I have a client who's actively working through a binge eating disorder or whatever, and tracking macros is really helping her, and you're commenting on how she tracks all of her stuff and she does this and that, you are triggering her in really unhealthy ways. Now, fortunately, when we're working with clients, we're giving them tools in these scenarios to navigate or supporting them. But like, you could really trigger someone in a really unhealthy way. So I am honestly trying to hurt feelings a little bit because
you're poking today.
We really need to be more mindful of the way that we approach this. And I really want the narrative to change around.
That's true. And I want the narrative to change, but I also am like, we can't control other people's dumb stuff that comes out of their mouth.
Sure.
So part of this is, how can I educate you guys on how to respond? Maybe that trains that person to be like, oh shoot, that maybe didn't land how I meant it. And then they think about it next time, right? Okay, so the next one is more training related. I have bad, insert body part here. I have bad knees. My doctor told me not to squat. I have a bad back. My doctor told me not to deadlift. Okay, let's talk about this. My question back to you, if your doctor told you not to squat, is I'd like you to ask your doctor how they plan on you getting on and off of the couch at night, or on and off of the toilet as you age, right? You are going to have to squat. It is a function that our body does to get up and down. Do you plan on never sitting again? We can certainly modify and we can relearn the movement pattern so that we can do it well. We do not need to back squat with a barbell. We can goblet squat. We can just body weight squat, right? But eliminating a movement because something hurts, again, unless you have, like, let's say you just broke your patella because you fell. Okay, we are not moving that knee until it heals, right? But for chronic aches and pains, eliminating movement is not the answer.
Love that. I feel like that's common. And I can remember a couple of clients that said, like, my doctor told me not to use free weights. I had a back injury. I remember the doctor was like, you cannot deadlift. Don't ever deadlift again. And I was like, this was a chiropractor. I was like, oh my God, is this really what you're telling people? But we've had clients say, I can only do the Smith machine, or I can't do free weights because of this. And it's like, hold on. The reason that you can't do free weights is because we need to work on your balance and your stability and your mobility and your core strength. So it's not that you should avoid that movement pattern. Like Jess said, how are you going to pick up your kids? How are you going to pick up the groceries off the floor and put them away? If you have somebody that you can hire all that for, cool, and you just never have to squat again, like.
But then you're going to be miserable for the rest of your life because you're going to lack function. So no. Okay, I'm going to add to this now. We do not have this one on our list, but I'm going to add pregnant you shoulds and shouldn'ts also on here. So both for lifting and for eating. The amount of times that people were like, you shouldn't be lifting that. I was training in person through my pregnancies. Through the first pregnancy, second pregnancy, obviously the gyms are shut down and everything. I was training through my pregnancy. I was demonstrating barbell deadlifts and squats, and the amount of people who told me, oh, you shouldn't be lifting that. The doctor told me you shouldn't be lifting more than 15 pounds. With my second pregnancy, I said, what am I supposed to do with the 30-pound toddler at home? Am I just not going to ever pick her up? Like that, this is ridiculous guidance. Our bodies are very capable of adapting, and you are perfectly capable, and it's actually healthy for you to lift weights, to do resistance training, if running is your thing, to run, whatever things you have already adapted your body to up to pregnancy, you should be fine to continue through pregnancy unless there's a specific complication that pops up. The reason I say if it's something you have already adapted yourself to. Now, with women, I still have people who trained them through pregnancy and they got stronger. They hit PRs even in pregnancy. That's fine. But I wouldn't say, okay, for somebody like me who never runs, I'm going to sign up for my first marathon when I'm pregnant, right? I'm not throwing in some brand new stimulus that my body's
demand.
Yeah. I'm not adding a stressor that I've never done before, right? If you've never picked up a weight, maybe we're starting with body weight and then we're starting with dumbbells. I'm not saying I'm going to have you max out your deadlift today, right? Like that's ridiculous. But if it's something you've already done and you've been comfortable exercising up till that point before you got pregnant, you're fine doing it. Same comes with you shoulds or you shouldn'ts around food, caffeine, all the things, right? Like typically the most important guidance is how do you feel, right? Obviously there are some recommendations based on, okay, well, your chances of getting some foodborne illness eating sushi is a little higher for everybody. If you're pregnant, it's more of an issue, right? So obviously there's reasons behind some of the guidances, but at the end of the day, moms or moms to be, you know your body best, listen to your body.
I want to touch on another one that I hear very often, and this is an insert. So I have blank, so I can't lose weight. I have PCOS, I'm menopausal, I'm hypothyroid. I'm not saying that those diagnoses don't make it a little more difficult, right? Sometimes they're a little bit more of a barrier. But there's not this like weight loss bone in your body that just snaps when you have a PCOS diagnosis. Like people instantly think, I can't lose weight because I have PCOS. And this is a lack of education, which is obviously what we actively work on, right? And I think if you understand PCOS and what actually creates that environment in your body, you'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe I said I can't lose weight because I have PCOS. Now, everyone loses weight in a calorie deficit. I just had a talk with a client yesterday. She was like, what if a calorie deficit doesn't work? And I was like, then we need to submit you to research because you would be the first person ever on earth to not lose weight in a calorie deficit, right? But creating a calorie deficit with those conditions can be more difficult if there's internal inflammation, if there's a metabolic issue.
Meaning we might have to cut lower than we would if you didn't have those issues. So it may be more difficult
first. And
true. Add muscle.
Right. We add muscle. We manage your symptoms and all of those things to make it easier and remove that barrier. But that one's pretty short and sweet. You just need a calorie.
And that applies to thyroid. It applies to PCOS. It applies to, I'm perimenopausal, so my hormones aren't working. Yes, you probably aren't going to change your physique as quickly as a 25-year-old with perfect hormones, right? But it's still possible. Yeah. Okay, the next one. No, I don't want to get bulky. Or like, I don't want to strength train because I might get bulky. Or, well, no, I'm doing Pilates because I really just want to look toned. I don't really want to look like muscular. Okay, this is a misinformation thing too. Muscle is muscle. There is not lean muscle versus bulky muscle. Muscle is muscle. On top of our muscle, we have body fat, okay? Body fat is body fat. If you want your muscle to adapt, you have to add resistance over time. You add some sort of tension, you progress that tension, our muscle adapts, period. I am short. I will never have long, lean leg muscles, right? Because I'm 5 feet tall. They're not going to get longer. It is what it is. Now I can build those muscles, or I can atrophy those muscles and they can get smaller by lack of activity, right? Or not eating enough. But you can't change the type of muscle tissue you have. That this is all marketing.
You're 6 feet tall. You cannot lengthen your muscle. The insertion points do not change. You grow the muscle, or the muscle atrophies.
Doesn't grow. Yeah. So when you hear this from Pilates, bar classes, whatever the exercise modality is, all the beach body workouts, like you want to work out for long, lean muscles, higher rep ranges for long muscles, lower rep ranges for bulky muscles. There's zero scientific validity to this. This is straight up marketing to target women's insecurities. So how do you build your muscle to create a sculpted, lean, toned physique? Resistance train with progressive overload over time. How do you reduce the fat that's on top of that muscle? Being in a caloric deficit. Period. It's those two things back and forth. So, and you can't usually build a whole lot of muscle if you are not eating enough. So that's why we bring our women through phases of muscle building. And then that time you might feel a little fluffier, because guess what? The body fat is not going away while we're building the muscle, but muscle takes a long time to build. You're not going to just beef up, right? So it takes a long time to build, but then we can trim the fat down on top of the muscle. And wow, now we're showing off a little bit of that we've built. So that's that. You're not going to get bulky, lift some weights if you want to look toned and lean and bikini body ready. Sorry, I know everybody hates that term now too, bikini body. Your body can be in whatever bathing suit you love. We want you to love your body, and we want you to work on becoming a healthier version of yourself. Okay, the next one. I was bad this weekend. Oh my gosh, I was so bad this weekend. Or, I fell off the wagon, or I didn't stick to the plan. We try to disassociate our morality.
I cheated.
Good versus badness with our food choices. Okay. You are not bad for making a different choice. You just made a different choice. That's okay. We want to eventually get to a place with our clients where they own their choices and they own the outcomes associated with their choices. A lot of times I'll talk about we have our health bank account, right? Sometimes I'm making choices that are I'm making deposits into my health bank account because I want to see that savings account grow, right? I want to add to my health. Sometimes I make withdrawals from it because it's worth it to me. And maybe I want to put that towards the value, not the value of health, physical health and physique change. Maybe I want to put the value towards family time and baking cookies with my mom and my kids, right? That's okay too. There's nothing wrong with making a different choice as long as you're owning your choices and you're okay with the outcomes associated with your inputs. So, your choices are not good or bad. They are just your choices. And there's a consequence to every choice, good and bad. Are you okay with the consequences associated with your choices at the end of the day? We're not putting guilt or shame or anything on you for your choices.
Yep. And then another one, I'll have clients, or I'll have women who inquire about coaching, and they're like, well, I have a vacation in August, but I have X, Y, and Z coming up, but my kid's about to graduate college. I'm so busy. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. I should just start later. And I'm like, you know what? I have a better idea. Why don't you just wait until you retire? All of your kids are gone after your spouse dies, and you should have all the time in the world to get healthy and feel good, right? Does that logically make any sense? Of course not, right? Life is life. When one hard stops, two more roll out of nowhere, right? I joke about how my son is 12 and they talk about terrible twos. And I'm like, well, what about terribles, threes, fours, fives, right? There's always a version of something. There's ever a different hard for parenting every year, every minute. Something is always going to come up, right? You just have to constantly audit yourself and check in and say, one, am I pushing myself to be the best version of me? Two, am I meeting myself where I'm at and being realistic with what I can do right now? I went through a part of the year last year where going to the gym 4 to 5 days a week just felt so good to me. Right now, I don't like it. I'm hitting about 2 days. I'm going to yoga and Pilates for fun right now. That's just what feels good for me. I have no goal right now other than to move my body and take time for myself. That is my goal right now with my fitness, with my health. I'm eating so intentionally, so much protein, whatever, right? So there's always going to be something. It's just, what is your goal? What can you do realistically? And how can you prioritize it? You are never going to have a time in life ever again, I hate to break it to you, that is going to feel like, wow, this is the moment that I can insert my new health journey. You just have
And
to
how are you going to
yourself
maintain
involved.
it through the hard seasons? It's like the classic tortoise and the hare, right? Our client, I always on our onboarding calls tell our clients, like the clients who are the most successful never hide from us on a tough week, right? Like there's going to be slumps. There's going to be times that you're like, oh, I didn't do anything. Okay, cool. Let's readjust our expectations. And maybe this week we can just focus on one small thing and then keep the ball rolling. Because a lot of times what happens is when people go on and off these wagons, right? Okay, I'm working out 6 days a week and that really worked for me because I lost all this weight. And I'm like, did it work for you? Because you gained it all back, right? What if we just tried being really consistent with 2 or 3 days a week and do that for a year and see what happens? Maybe you're going to surpass all the things that ever happened before when you only did it for 5 weeks and got burnt out and then stopped again altogether, right? So yeah, not starting. I'll start after this busy season, after vacation, after life calms down. Instead, like be realistic with yourself. What can you do on your hardest day? Start right now. Start today. You don't need to wait for a Monday or the new year or whatever. Okay, next is, well, I'm just not motivated right now. Okay, this is extra triggering to us probably as coaches because my job is not to motivate you, to hold your hand, to be your cheerleader. And for anybody who is a client who's listening to this, they're probably laughing because they're probably like, well, you are motivating. I very intentionally am pointing out the data to connect the dots between wins so that they can see, oh, wow, I'm eating more and I feel better. I'm stronger. Look at all these great things. That does help them get more motivated, right? But it is not about motivation to get you outcomes. Inputs get you outcomes. And then there's also this snowball effect that happens when you start with like doing the action. The motivation comes because you start feeling better, because you start seeing results, because you start to realize I have control over these things that change in myself. So I just need more motivation. Motivation comes and goes. If it has hit you today, great, go get started on your healthy habit today. But on the days that you don't feel motivated, a lot of times what I'll ask myself is like, can I do the thing today, right? Like there's going to be times that I physically cannot go to the gym because my kids are homesick or something pops up or I don't know, whatever the thing is, right? Today, I might not feel like going to the gym. Might not be motivated, but I go 3 times a week and I perfectly well can go today. So I'm going to go today, even if I'm not motivated, right? The action is coming before the motivation. Jill, I don't know if you want to give your teeth brushing analogy, but I love that. Like, I feel like that is one that hits home for everybody.
What's my analogy?
Jill always, I will. Jill always tells people it's like brushing our teeth, right? Like, do we want the outcome associated with brushing our teeth? Like, yeah, I don't want my teeth to fall out and rot. So even though sometimes I don't feel like brushing them, I still brush them. We treat exercise in that same way, right? I don't want the outcomes associated with just not eating well and not exercising. I'm going to feel like crap. I'm going to get chronic disease, all these things. So sometimes I just do it, even if I don't feel like doing it. Motivation is not a reliable source.
I love analogies so much that I can't even remember all the ones that I
You have so many good ones. You're just so great. You're just so great. You can't even remember how all the wonderful things,
too witty,
profound things that come out of your face. I feel like that's probably good for today. We could probably do a whole second episode on this, but hopefully that helps you guys. Again, no shame. If you have said this stuff to my face, please know I'm not judging anything. I just want to help you reframe it in a healthy way so that we're really focusing on health and not just quick weight loss, fads, all that stuff.
For yourself, to celebrate you and to celebrate your people, right? In good, healthy, strong ways. Reframing that is one of, I think, the most powerful tools that clients walk away with, is that they come in dead set on a number on the scale and they walk away with so much more and a totally different perception of scale and weight and food and everything. And that's really our goal for everyone, is to, like we said earlier, just change that narrative to push away from just weight loss being the only thing that we're proud of or ashamed of, in the opposite direction. So hope that was helpful. And that's it for this month's Unhinged episode. And we'll see you
If we do a second one, like, please comment on this episode in Instagram or wherever you're listening with the cringeworthy things that you've heard before, or maybe you've said them, because we are happy to do a part 2, because I'm certain that there's like 20 more that we didn't think about for this episode.
100%. Cool. Thanks, guys. Bye.